Thank you so much.
No, good morning, Program Director, Tate Jos Pila, who's also currently our person who's leading the coordination on the issues of migration that we are having. Thank you very much also to the team collectively for arranging this important webinar, but also let me take this opportunity to thank especially representatives of the Department of Small Business Development, other government stakeholders and partners and guests that are here. Representatives of the Department of Small Business Development are quite important and key in the issue of making sure that the youth are introduced into the opportunities that are here. I'm talking about opportunities. Why? Because all developed nations will show that on the economy, for a country to answer the questions and the plea of the youth in terms of employment, the successful countries have indicated that small business initiatives are key. So I know generally we look at government to be the main employer, but government is limited as it can only employ due to the fiscus that it has, which is dependent on the paying of tax. So if you don't have a bigger tax bracket of people paying for tax, the government will then be not in a position to employ more. But what the government should do is to create an environment for the businesses to thrive, especially for your business, your small business. So it is a privilege, therefore, to join in this important platform, convened obviously by the government to bring together young people across South Africa, especially that we are celebrating Mandela Month under the theme, it is still in our hands to combat poverty and equality. That is a slogan. But here, let me digress a little bit and speak about what the president said during June 16th. And I just want to take one paragraph that I think it's a guiding line. That was his opening paragraph when he said 50 years ago, not far from where we stand today. That was in Nasrec, by the way. Thousands of young South Africans marched carrying nothing. That is what I want to emphasize. Carrying nothing but their school books, their courage, and their dreams. I will repeat, carrying nothing but their school books, their courage, and their dreams. So this is a generational thread of saying the youth of today, who I think are represented here, are they carrying nothing but their school books, their courage, and their dreams? No. The word nothing has now translated into what we'll be talking about today. But the word courage and dreams, still, those words still stand. But on the nothingness, it's what has changed today. Because today we have platforms. Today we have opportunities. Today we have other avenues that the government has provided, which I think will be further unpacked when the speakers, like when Tate Simon speaks, Gift speaks, Clotilda speaks, Nobupiwa speaks, Zolisanani speaks. They will be showing that today's youth are not actually nothing, but they have vehicles that they can use, but they should carry with them that courage and those dreams. So, Chair, the Golden Jubilee commemoration of the 1976 Youth Uprising that was held under the Reset at 50, the Future Calls. It calls on us to reflect on the sacrifices that those youth did while focusing on opportunities, partnerships, and interventions needed to support young people. So, Chair, we are talking about a generational mission. The generation of 1976 had a mission, and the mission was to fight the unjust system of education, but which then was inclusive of the unjust system of apartheid. Today's youth, I think they have to have also a generational mission to say what is it that is worrying our youth. Is unemployment one of them? Two, we have the scourges of drugs. We have the scourges of crime. Remember, Chair, even when the youth want to start small businesses, if the issues of drugs are not addressed, the little that they will be making will be going to drugs. If the youth want to start small businesses and there's still the issue of crime, it means that those businesses would not strive, because immediately you start, you are vulnerable to crime. You cannot open your youth a business 24 hours, fearing that there's going to be crime. However, those are the issues that the youth generation of today should make it their mission, that we want to do economic empowerment and liberation of the youth. But what are the impediments? And they have to also play a role in that. Remember, Chair, in 1976, when those youth had nothing but only courage and dreams, the police were the enemy. They were not needing the police for protection. They were having courage to do things on their own. So even today, I think what we should try to avoid is for the youth to be sitting ducks and say, no one is protecting us, therefore we can't do anything. So, Chair, I want to emphasize today that government remains committed to expanding access to skills development, employment opportunities, entrepreneurship support, and funding so that more young people can participate meaningfully in the economy. Chair, let me caution the youth, who I think they are quite active in all these issues that I've raised, that there was this tendency of us being channeled towards getting tenders only as a way of empowerment. Chair, we have just read the Auditor General's report that shows that that tender system has not been good when you move it with development at municipalities. And we still have a problem of municipalities. As yesterday, the Treasury announced a number of municipalities that they are withholding their grant funding. So which means that if you rely on the municipality for tender, then it means that is not an option that you have to put all in your basket for now. We want to fix municipalities so that municipalities can work, and they cannot be only centers of tenders that cannot deliver opportunities to people, that cannot deliver services to the young people. So we expect that young people, as I've seen in some municipalities, they have a young people's desk that should be used not only for youth activism on other aspects, but should be used on young people's activities on the economy. And I want to encourage youth to participate in the municipal desks that looks at empowering youth on the economic side, not only on being the representatives of councillors. Chair, our policy and our priority still remains as government to ensure that the young people are not only encouraged to seek opportunities, but are actively connected to practical pathways that lead to any. We want the youth not only to be job seekers, but to be job creators, where they will use the available platforms and the ways of government that will be announced as we proceed to say, how do they become job creators and not job seekers? One of the strategic priorities that have been outlined by President uh, Ramaphosa in the State of the Nation address is to drive inclusive growth and job creation. This aligns directly with the theme of this webinar, which is connecting young people to skills, opportunities, and partnerships. And I have no doubt in my mind that the youth of South Africa are creative. The youth of South Africa just need information and space, and they will do. We have seen how the youth have made good work in the arts industry. Very young youth that are involved in your arts music industry. We have seen how the youth, some, have turned the issue of technology on the TikTok to say, how do you leverage on providing content to make sure that you attract advertisement, but also you launch your businesses. We have seen how some of the youth has developed the townships to be a hive of activity, either on the hospitality sector. And those youth, I'm still repeating, that they now have access to the information that can be provided on how to assist them. So, Chair, I take it that this webinar will provide youth with practical information on government programs, funding, skills development, employment support, and entrepreneurship opportunities. And government is committed to ensuring that young people outside major urban centers are not left behind, and that programs reach rural communities through local structures, roadshows, partnerships, and official communication channels. This session takes place as government continues to expand youth service opportunities. The latest rollout of the National Youth Service will create close to 100,000 paid community service opportunities across all 9 provinces, giving unemployed young people practical work exposure, community service, experience, and pathways into employment, entrepreneurship, and education and training. Chair, when coming to this, I want to indicate that one should also appreciate the youth that are in different departments, but also in different companies, not on paid thing. They are volunteering. Why? Because when they were put by SETAs, after the SETA has finished its funding, the issue is, what do they do? When you go home, you sit with that information that you have gained. So some of them have requested to continue in the different departments and the bodies that they are on voluntary basis, so that they can gain the necessary on-the-job skills. As you might know, that what you learn on a textbook is not always what is practically implementable. You have to learn that and then implement it. And those youth, we appreciate them. It is not an easy one to volunteer without a salary, but it's an investment in gaining experience. And we want to also appreciate that. Chair, the President's Youth Employment Intervention continues to connect young people to earning, to also learning, and to also enterprise pathways, while the South African Youth.mobi provides a free gateway to verified opportunities. Chair, our young people rely also on technology. So the presence of your SAYouth.mobi also assists them to use technology to link up. Young people are therefore encouraged to register on official platforms. You are encouraged also to update their profiles. They are also encouraged to apply consistently, take up training opportunities, consider entrepreneurship, and remain alert to misinformation and disinformation. Some of our youth have been misled, where on the social media company, they promise them good jobs and so forth. And we have just realized, Chair, that some of the youth of South Africa are found as far as certain countries in Asia, your Thailand and so forth. That has been led to get into the jobs, only to find that now those are not the real jobs. So make sure that you are alive to misinformation and disinformation. No young person, Chair, should be left behind. Government will continue working with partners to ensure that opportunities reach townships, rural communities, and young people who face barriers to participate. I therefore encourage all participants to take an active part in today's discussion. Ask questions, share your experiences, and make use of the information that will be presented. Chair, I'm not trying to encourage that we should be anarchical, but I have realized that since the wave that has been happening, some of the businesses are looking for South African youth, especially on the issue of transporting, delivering food, and so forth. And I was even asking one of the companies to say what was happening, why now all of a sudden do you have opportunities? And we didn't want to get into the reasons as we know them. However, what they did raise, Chair, was the issue of availability. They say there are opportunities, but the issue will be whether the youth are available for working beyond the times. Remember, in our South African situation, by 4 o'clock, by 5 o'clock, we want to go home. But when you enter into an entrepreneurship world, you must be able to provide something that cannot be provided during the abnormal hours. Like, for instance, if people know that after 5, I can rely on a delivery to deliver this, 6, 7. Those are the opportunities that I think our youth should take. So, Chair, together we can strengthen the pathway from learning to earning and help young people answer Madiba's call by taking their rightful place in building South Africa's future. So with this webinar, I take it, Chair, that after some period, we might have to do also a check where some youth will be able to say, after that that webinar, after getting information on how to start a business in South Africa, after getting information on what DSD offering and PEU Pele Youth Fund is offering, after getting information on presidential employment stimulus, after getting information on National Empowerment Fund, after getting information on the Youth Fund presentation, I was able to access the following. And it will be good that we use them to encourage other youth to say, if you were able to do it, therefore tell the other youth that is doable, that you can do it. So I take it that this webinar will go a long way towards helping them. And thank you very much. And thank you. I hope we'll enjoy this. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Baloyi, our Deputy Government Spokesperson with the GCIS, and I think we'll then get into the nitty-gritties of what and why we are here. I think all our presenters are on the call. Maybe we'll just start by all of them quickly introducing themselves, and we'll then get into the first presentations. Maybe starting with yourself, Mr. Fenyani, if you can just quickly do a round of introduction, sir. Thanks. I think you need to unmute Mr. Fenyani.
Sorry about that. Thank you very much, Program Director. My name is Simon Fenyane from Companies and Intellectual Property Commission. I'm from the unit called Corporate Education and Voluntary Compliance. And then Companies and Intellectual Property Commission, which is CIPC, known as CIPC, is an agency of the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, the DTIC. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We will then be followed by Mr. Jonathan Naiju. Just a slight amendment we had to do to yourself to the program. We no longer have Mr. Nzwani from DSBD, which is Small Business Development. We will now have Mr. Naiju from Harambe. You can introduce yourself, sir.
Good morning, colleagues. Good morning to all the young people on this webinar this morning. It's exciting for us to be here. My name is Jonathan Najo, and I lead SA Youth events and activations across the country. And essentially, my role and what we need to do is to ensure that we support young people face to face, making sure that they've got access to SA Youth at Mobi, and also ensuring that they apply with an accurate profile of their qualifications, experience, etc. And so that's our job, is to serve young people, and that's the reason why we're here today. Thank you so much, Chair.
Lovely to have you here. Ms. Ajeluchi.
Morning, everybody. My name is Chloe. Just a clarification, because I see a mistake on the program. I'm not from the Presidential Employment Stimulus, but I provide some support on a project that is part of the Presidential Employment Stimulus. So I will take you through a platform that we've developed that's called Next Step Exchange, with really cool videos about some of the things that young people are doing.
And wait for the experience and the inspiration that will come with that. Thanks, Ms. Ajeluchi. Then we also have Ms. Ndashe.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nopiwa Ndashe. I am the head of pre-investment for the National Empowerment Fund. I will be taking you through our products and financial and non-financial support that we offer to young Black business entrepreneurs throughout South Africa. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Ndashe, and I think just to underscore that it is funded support and unfunded support. I think that's quite important to also note. As I introduce Mr. Nkobongwani. Mr. Nkobongwani, if you can introduce yourself, sir. Okay, we'll come back to that a bit later.
Chairperson, just to note that Mr. Wongwani indicated that he will join after 12 because he has other engagement. Thanks.
Not a problem. Thanks for that. I think Mo, you can take down the agenda so that we can allow our first presenter, who's Mr. Simon Fenyani from the CIPC, to take us through the presentation prepared for us for today. Thanks.
Mr. Simon, are you able to unmute? There we go.
Yeah, I'm trying to share my presentation. Just a second. Okay. Thank you very much. I hope it's visible now.
Yes, Mr. Simon, we can definitely see. You can just click on the got it button, and then that, and you can, yeah, we can see so.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. My name is Simon Fenyani, and then as I already introduced myself, and then my topic for today is starting a business in South Africa. And then in the interest of time, I will not talk to all the slides, but I'll just select a few slides. And then this is the agenda. This introduction to CIPC, some courses, how to register businesses, and then we'll look at the different types of businesses that we register within the CIPC. So let me just quickly skip to this. This is just the objectives of CIPC, what we do, but most of this information is also, available on CIPC website. CIPC, we register the types of companies. We also register your cooperatives and the forms of intellectual property rights. But we are not only the registration office or just the post office where you just come and register your businesses. We are also a regulatory, and then whereby we actually make sure that all companies do comply with the relevant legislations, especially when it comes to the Companies Act of 2008. So now, especially for young people, we introduce some courses in CIPC. We have the Learn IBs course. This course is also available on CIPC website, and then the course is just to equip SMME directors and entrepreneurs, with knowledge of duties, and then also promote the stronger compliance with the Companies Act. And then the course is free of charge. This course is available on CIPC website. You can visit CIPC website on resource. You click on resource, then you land on Learn IB's course. So the course is free of charge, as I explained, and then it's also not accredited, but you can do this course and then finish it within 2 hours or at your own time. So it's very important. We also have the other one that is a business rescue course that's also available under the same business e-learning course. So let's just quickly look at why is it important to register a business in South Africa. First of all, I'll not explain all these things, but the first one is for legal recognition. It is not good, to if you are not formalized, because sometimes people, they will think that you are actually dealing with a fly by night here. So, but if your company is is registered and people where to find you, where to locate you, and so forth, it is very, 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 very professional. And then the other thing is also credibility, and then the access to finance, because that's where you start with CIPC. If you want to open a business account, obviously you need to have a registered business with CIPC. that's where we start. And then if you want to do a business with either private or public, and then that's where you start. You start with CIPC. You come and register a business with CIPC first, and then the other thing is also for business growth, that you ensure that you expand even in the near future, whereby you will be able to create job opportunities. As we know, as South Africa, we are striving, so that whoever that start businesses, especially our youth, obviously they will be able to create job opportunities, with those businesses. So now here is just to give you some of the things that we have. Like, for example, one can run a business as a sole proprietor, but obviously this form of business is not is unincorporated. In other words, you can run a business, as an incorporator. So, but in this case, you are not registered. It's just a small man or a small woman who start his own businesses, of course, but there are risks around these things, So obviously, with growth, and then it's also another thing that one will not grow, So, but there's one, opportunity that one can start looking at, and then the other businesses that we have is closed corporation, but we no longer register the closed corporation. We closed that avenue, but we register private companies, under the companies. And then another form of company is also cooperatives that you can register with CIPC. But we also have some trust. We are giving this information so that you actually understand, because sometimes people come, they ask if we register trust. No, we don't register trust. Trusts are registered by the Master of the High Court, and then but it deals with many things, because some of the trusts, they actually have registered businesses, so those are some of the things that we just want to to give you more information, and then we also have to we are in a process of developing a guide on how to start a business in South Africa that will also assist our youth in the country. But for any other thing that you want us, or you want to communicate with us, or you want to invite us, to come and then do a webinar or whatever, share something with you, you are more than welcome. You can send us email at education@cipc.co.za. Now, let's just start with a name reservation. Now, coming to a name reservation, this is where we start. Now, you can reserve a name, but it's not mandatory. You are not forced to reserve a name. So, in terms of the Companies Act of 2008, it means that you can register a company without a name. So, meaning that a company will come with a registration number. So it means that you can trade with that number. But I know most of our customers, they prefer to have a name, and then in that case you can reserve a name. So reserving a name obviously is 50 rand for name reservation, and then for company registration is 125. So all in all, you pay 175 to register a company. So if you register a company without a name, and then you will be paying 125 only. So we also have different platforms that we use to register companies. We have self-service terminals, and then the addresses are also available on CIPC all over the country, in Pretoria and Joburg and other big cities. You can visit our self-service terminals whereby you'll be able to register a company there. But we also have, other, platforms within CIPC, because most of our services are online. You can use what we call e-services. E-services, but it's also a paper form, but you complete the information, and then they will email the information to you where you have to download, sign, and then attach, the supporting documents, such as your certified ID copies, and you email it back, to finalize the registration process. But we also introduced what we call a BIS portal. BIS portal is paperless. There's no paper, there's nothing, and then you register. We are linked with Department of Home Affairs, and then you'll be able to register a business within 24 hours. Then you will receive your registration certificate on your email address. So this is just another form of companies. Let's just look at the companies, as I already explained, that we have different platforms where you register your companies. But we also have what you call a non-profit and profit companies. So under profit companies, we have your profit companies, we have your state-owned companies, public companies, personal liability companies, and then we also have your public companies, and then also your external companies. But for SMMEs, they register what we call a private company. So you will choose what you call a private company. Of course, after registering a business, there are some other issues that you have to, these compliance issues, that we have to take you through, as a customer, to know what is expected of you, so that you'll be able to understand exactly what is needed. You have what you call the beneficial ownership, but annual returns, financial statement, and so forth. So those are some of the things. And then after registration, obviously, you receive a welcoming letter, and then with all this necessary information, then we take you through all this information. And then one other thing, obviously, for those who already registered companies, is to make sure that you actually update, your contact details with CIPC. It is very, very, very important, especially now that most of our services are available online. So it is very, very, very important. And then one other thing, is also important again, to contact with us, visit the CIPC website, and then you can also log your queries through a customer inquiry management system. But what is needed there, you need also, as a customer, even if you are not CIPC customer, you need to create what we call a customer code first. That will be able to help you, if you want to transact with CIPC, and then you need to create that. We have the step-by-step guides available on CIPC website, how to create a customer code. And then once you've done that, then you can also log even your queries on a customer inquiry system, rather than waiting, calling on our call center. And then, you choose the relevant department department, and then they will be able to assist this. Also, one other thing on this slide is that we are also active on social media. You can go to our Facebook, and then we have also consultants there. They will be able to assist you. You can inbox us at CIPC. You can follow us, and then we'll be able to assist you with all other things. So on these slides, it's just to make sure that you stay compliant. And then hence I said that I'm not gonna talk to all the slides, because of time. And then I will have to just maybe just stop here, and then we'll take questions at the later stage. And then thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Program Director. Let me pause here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ntate Fenyani. There you have it, Companies and Intellectual Property Commission. I think what will also assist Ntate Fenyani, if you can also in the chat box put all those details, the socials, the web addresses, the direct contacts, the addresses that you have. If you can please assist that, just put them in the chat box. And I think the audience who are attending and those who are also on our socials will also make sure that we also add on that front. But just to appreciate your presentation, if you can please take it down so that we can allow now Mr. Najud from Harambee to take us through their offerings through Harambee. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chair. We've given Mr. Simon a chance. I want to greet everybody here on this webinar. Thank you so much for being with us. I'll do my best to stick to the time that we have, and we've got a great opportunity to connect with you all here today. So my name is Jonathan Najo, and I'll get my presentation ready for you all quickly. And simply put, when I think about what I want to share with you today is just to go through some of the high-level notes that I have with you all. Let me just see if I can find there where my screen is. Simon was right. This is not so straightforward, eh? Yeah, okay. Just check. I got some colleagues on the call with me today. They will double check for me. Okay, cool. It does show clearly. Thank you so much. So yeah, I work for Harambee Youth Employment Accelerator. We are in existence for 15 years. And before COVID, we had a very face-to-face model. We made it our business to work directly with young people. And since COVID happened, we've had to do some pivoting and changes to how we operate as an organization. And that's where we worked with partners across the private sector, public sector, to then develop what we call now sayouth.mobi. And so I'm going to do my best to just go through some of that high-level notes here with you all, and see how far we can get. I really want to highlight something here that, when you talk about addressing youth unemployment in South Africa, it is one of the biggest challenges we have that we're dealing with. My colleagues will keep monitoring the chats and they can show me what's happening in the chats. But roughly 1 million, young people exit education annually and they try to enter the labor force. And that's a big, big number. So I want you to imagine 1 million young people coming into the world of work every single year. And then you're also dealing with the fact that the economy is growing at a slow rate. And so that's why you find that young people are locked out of the labor market due to many barriers that they face when it comes to looking for work. And the third thing is that although there is investment in learnerships, internships, in training, in opportunities, there's always this limited transition for youth to then start earning. And so I want you to think about yourself in this moment as a young person. It's an extremely, busy space. There's so many young people in our country looking for opportunities. And I want you to just think about that when you apply, there's 1,000 other young people applying for the same opportunity. So you have to be so strategic, so intentional on how to make sure that you stand out. Okay. And then as a Rambi, just a quick one about us. We are a not-for-profit social enterprise, and our job is to find ways to accelerate youth employment by partnering with different organizations across society to break barriers and unlock jobs. And so just quickly, I'll look at some of these three things that I talked about. When you talk about breaking barriers through research, intelligence, and advocacy, we use data, we use insights, and we look at this database of over 4 million young people that are engaged on SAYouth.mobi to really understand where are the barriers, where are the opportunities, and where can we definitely accelerate youth employment. And the second thing is that when we do connect youth to jobs through operating SA Youth, we partner and to identify opportunities that which stimulate job creation.
Not audible.
Oh, really? Did it stop? Okay, let me just see something here.
We can hear you, Jonathan.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you for confirming. Okay, cool. So yeah, we look at specific sectors and we design and test solutions that can solve youth unemployment at scale. You got to think about the country. You're talking about 9 million youth that are, not in education, not in employment, not in training. And so that's a big number. And we look at that from a national perspective and how can we work with, this is not a one-man job. This is not a one organization job. You need so many stakeholders across all sectors, to really look at this, how do you solve for youth unemployment? And so we design and then do our best to scale those solutions for job creation. We use technology, and that's why SAYouth.mobi is designed in such a way that you can access it from your device, from your phone, without having to take a taxi, print a CV. The way that SAYouth.mobi is designed and being zero rated, it is designed in such a way that you can then access this from wherever you are. Okay. I'm going to scroll quickly over this and just show you just how the breakdown is. So you imagine that 1 million young people entering the labor market. You can see that 40% find work, short-term jobs, or it's medium-term jobs. It's like learnerships. It's anything that's like 12 months and less. And then you also see that then 30% find intermittent work. But most of the young people are finding themselves in a space of not in education, not in training, and not in education or employment. And then 20% want to work but never do. So that is a reality, that there's a 200,000 cohort of young people that do their best. They want to work, they're applying, they're looking, but for some reason, it's just not happened for them. And then you also find that, there's 10% of young people that actually do give up. And that's why we are here today, to talk to you about how we could work with you across the country with SAYouth.mobi. And then quickly over here, you see that, I want you to imagine we've got colleagues that are speaking and knocking on doors across every sector you can think of. We're asking employers across the country, can you give young people a chance? Can you come and hire through SAYouth.mobi? And that's an incredible important thing for me to stress. It's not easy. I want you to imagine that some employers don't consider young people. Some employers are not thinking about young people. And so we've got to do our utmost best to advocate, to nudge, and to motivate that they should give young people a chance. So I want you to imagine that by the time you see a job advert on SAYouth.mobi, a lot of work has gone into promoting you, and pushing for you to get those opportunities, because as I said, employers don't think about us as young people immediately. And so we gotta advocate and put your name out there, essentially. And so you can see here that we, on the one side, we're convincing employers across the country to come to SAYouth and apply on SAYouth. And on the other side, we're also wanting to create a job transparency where, everyone gets to see the opportunity at the same time. You can see that we've worked on reducing and taking the cost of data away from you. So you're not taking a taxi, you're not printing your CV, you are actually able to log into your profile right now and see what opportunities are available to you within where you live and where you are. You haven't spent anything yet. The only thing we can't make free is that we can't make Google free. So once you are on SAU.mobi or in the site, everything on the site is free. But before that, you need a little bit of data just to get onto any search engine. And once you are on that search engine, you'll be able to then, work with us. So there we go. That's the link. People often ask us this, what is the link to join SAU.mobi? That's the link in front of you. I'll maybe ask if someone can help me put it in the chats, sayouth.mobi. Just to punch it in there, that is the link that you need to use. And it's about then you being able to find jobs that's within your area. Now, it doesn't help that once you've joined and you've set up your profile, that you apply to opportunities that are very, very far away from you. So I want you to really think about carefully what you apply to. You got to consider then applying to opportunities that fit your profile, fit your qualifications, fit your experience, and also fit your location. You got to think about employers thinking like this, that when they look at your profile as Jonathan, I'm using myself as an example, they look, okay, where does Jonathan live within the Eastern Cape, within the Free State, within the Northern Cape? Where are you located? Because whatever they're going to pay you, they're also thinking about what's going to cost you to get to the world of work. What's it going to cost you to get to the office? Okay, we work with various organizations across the country. It's over 2,500. Nando's is one of our first employers that we've got on board, as well as the First National Bank FNB, and they've been active on the SAU.mobi site, and as well as Time Bank and many, many others. Most young people know us for the teacher assistance jobs, or even some of the jobs that came through Department of Home Affairs. But most importantly, there's even other opportunities like with Africa Tukun, where you can get involved with your community as well as with civil society. Now, this is very important. I'm going to try not to rush it, but when you look at your SAU CV, we're finding that young people either spell their own name incorrectly. We find that young people don't update their profile. Maybe there's a inaccurate cell phone number that you haven't used in the last year. We find that young people don't visit the site maybe 3 months at a time, a year at a time. We find that young people forget their password. We find that when employers invite young people to interviews, they didn't prepare for the interview, or they didn't do research about the company, or they didn't actually update their profile with the relevant experience. So you got a very mixed responses from employers. They say that sometimes young people are not ready for work. And so you're making it very, very challenging for the rest of young people that are ready for work. So I want to really call that out in the kindest way possible, and just alert you and make you aware that you have to have your name and your details spelled correctly with no spelling mistakes, right? And then secondly, you must practice, your interview skills. You need to be able to be confident to then stand or be in front of a room or be online to engage and talk about yourself. We often see that young people get nervous when they say, so tell us about yourself, and then it gets really awkward. And there's almost that awkward pause. So that's the kind of stuff you need to practice now when you are waiting. They often say that you got to be ready for an opportunity, and that's what they mean. And then the fact that you're forgetting your password tells us that you've not been actively seeking. Maybe you're currently doing a business on the side, or you've been looking on other sites, or you've given up on applying on certain sites. But I want to encourage every young person today that if you can apply 500 times in a month, that's the target I have for you. I'm talking about like seriously engaging with the site, and don't apply unless you have updated your details. If we can't get hold of you through email or through a cell phone number, or if you're using the incorrect, physical address, or if you're not actually, communicating what your qualifications are or what your experience is, you can just imagine by the time that an employer looks at that profile and it doesn't represent you in the most up-to-date and accurate way, it does then put you further down the application list, right? So you want to apply with the most recent details of where you currently find yourself. And I can tell you this much: we've got a call center on 0800 727 and the bulk of the support that we can provide to the 5 million database on SA Youth is to help them reset their password. And I really want to say this to young people today. If you are finding yourself forgetting your password, resetting your password, doesn't that say something that maybe you are not as focused in looking and going into this. I know it's challenging. I know it's difficult. There's so many emails we receive when they say, we regret to inform you that you didn't qualify or you didn't make it for this opportunity. And then we also see that young people say that employers are not getting back to them. You must think about it this way. If an employer doesn't get back to you within 2 weeks, a month, please consider that then as unsuccessful, right? It's not that you failed. It's just that they either found a young person that lives closer to the place of work, or they found a young person with a relevant experience or the relevant qualifications. It's just that there's just so many young people applying to one opportunity, to one vacancy, that it's really sometimes it can be very competitive. But we do see that employers also come to SA Youth with 30 vacancies, with 25 vacancies. So don't apply, and we're also seeing that sometimes because young people don't know or recognize the employer, there's almost this immediate mistrust. I want to assure you that we've got colleagues that vet every single employer. They look at the employer's profile, they vet, they do research about the employer. So just because you don't recognize that employer, it doesn't mean they're not legit. Okay. We also see that then young people don't engage because they don't recognize the brand. It's like McDonald's putting out an advert versus another institution that people don't know of. And I want to say that sometimes you need to be able to do your own research and check that these organizations do exist and are real on the outside. So searching for jobs is really important. You got to be able to then use the site. You can see there's a bit of a screen there, and new jobs are loaded every single day. And you then have to make sure that you apply and complete the application process. Sometimes when we're out on the road and we're supporting young people, we see that young people don't complete the application. Maybe they stopped middle way. Maybe they didn't go back and do it completely. So you do see that sometimes youth are not completing the process completely, right? So make sure that you then follow throughout the process. There's also two critical things I need to mention. There's two things called an assessment. So there's a critical thinking assessment and a behavioral assessment. So that boosts your CV. If you're not taking the time to complete that, it does then show that you maybe not as interested, or you're not as using the site to its full potential. So make the effort that you complete your behavioral assessment and your critical thinking assessment. When you download your SAU CV, it will actually show. And what this helps is, let's say you've got limited qualifications, limited experience. This then signals to employers that, what, Jonathan actually is a critical thinker. There is someone that can, persevere. He's someone that's got the aptitude, the mindset, or the attitude. And so that's also really important. The things that people don't consider when coming to SA Youth is this. They only focus on the jobs. They don't think about the fact that there is courses available. So when you are someone that's looking for work, it's actually the best time then to start getting yourself, acquainted with other courses. Start to build almost like a pipeline or a training plan for yourself. Like, what courses can you join? Because employers are going to ask you, since your last employment, since your last activity, what have you been doing with your time? And if you cannot answer that, and it becomes a bit uncomfortable in the interview, it doesn't reflect negatively on you. So make sure that in every month, in every time that you've got a downtime or a gap between employment or an entrepreneurship, you are doing something with that time. We've actually earmarked specific 10 questions that you can practice for interviews as preparation for you. I can promise you not enough young people are using that, okay? So I want to encourage the 1,000 of young people that we've got on the site today to use that opportunity to then stand out. There's an opportunity for you to practice those questions, and I dare you to ask a family member at home, and they mustn't laugh at you. You must just say, hey, Malume, or hey, my auntie, I want to ask you if you can just share some feedback with me, and practice how to answer interview questions, okay? And only apply when you've got your most up-to-date, information. I want to just stop sharing quickly and check my time and see if I can just share one more thing with you, because I did some effort to say, what can I show you, what's currently live on the site at the moment, and then I'll try and wrap up my time before they kick me out, okay? So I think it's just loading, but it's going to load. It should be showing soon. You let me know if you can see it. Okay, cool. You can see my screen. So I've actually gone into the site. So for those that live in Krugersdorp here in Gauteng, there's a Wellness on Wings currently looking for wellness practitioners. I'm going to go to the next page. And let's see how many of these we can go through. All right. Nia, what did I do now? Let's quickly just see if I can go back. Maybe I didn't need to refresh properly. And let me just click here and then click on search and then just see if we can do this again. Okay, there we go. What am I doing wrong, guys? Let's try, give me an area that you guys are living in. Let's try Pretoria. Let's try Pretoria. Only because I'm thinking about Pretoria. Maybe there we go. So currently, there we go. So there's a Pretoria. This is a NYS National Youth Service Program that you can be a part of, especially if you don't have experience. We've got an organization called Go Buddy. You've got 6 days left there. Basically, you get an opportunity to deliver goods in your area. You can have Edge. You can be an in-store brand ambassador there at Woodlands. We can talk about Menlyn as well, Sunnyside. A lot of those are there. Okay, and I'll do one more, then I'll give over before they kick me out. And then what I also want to show you that PEP South Africa is also hiring. But what was interesting about this one is the moment you click on it, it will then tell you that this then lives on a different site. So what you're not always seeing as young people is that we also then do our effort to use technology to bring what's available on the internet. So we verify those, we make it available. So that will require you to have some data, but that's also some of the behind the scenes work that you're not maybe seeing that we're doing. And the purpose of that is to give you visibility of what's currently out there. Okay, so I've shown you now 2 pages full of what's available in Pretoria, and you can see then a lot of them are also sometimes living on a different site. But here's another interesting one on our end here, junior sales and appointment agent, and that's a remote opportunity with Free Me South Africa. And you can see that it's also commission based. And there's an internship also here, 1 day left to apply, and that's with Robertson Liquors. And so that's the presentation I've got for you today. And that's all it requires of you to do is to engage with the site and make sure that you apply with the most accurate profile of where you currently find yourself. Thank you so much, Chair. I've done a lot of talking and you didn't call me out, so I took it that maybe I did have some time. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Mr. Naju. I was not going to stop you, but I was also not going to indicate that I'm not going to stop you, because those are really, really practical ways in which the young people in our country can begin to access opportunities. And thanks for those practical examples to show that what we are speaking about is not the pie in the sky, and is actually something that even now during this conversation, people can begin to go into SA Youth Mobi and begin to access the sites that are nearer to where they reside. Thanks for that. Let me not waste any more time. Let's get on to now Miss Ajiluchi. Ma'am, you can come through.
Thank you so much. I'm just gonna share my screen quickly. Share. Right, so can you see my screen?
It is, oh yeah, confirmed. Oh, it was there, then went away.
Super.
Great.
Okay, great. So just as I said earlier, my name is Claire, and I provide some support to the Presidential Employment Stimulus on this project that is called Next Step Exchange, that really amplifies the power of learning from one another. So I apologize for my voice. I'm currently recovering from flu. So just for those of you who don't know, the Presidential Employment Stimulus was launched in 2020 as a set of interventions, public employment programs, and some of you might know the programs, the Teacher Assistant Program, the Social Employment Fund, the National Youth Service, the Presidential Employment Stimulus Program for the creative sector, and the Neighborhood Development Partnership Program. I've put here a screenshot of the latest overview publication, and I really encourage everybody to go and explore the website. So I've put the link there, and I will also put the link in the chat. So the Next Step Exchange came from some insights. So the one is that public employment participants have a lot of knowledge and skills that they acquire throughout the program, and they are willing and really keen to share with one another. When they leave the program, they might be looking for work opportunities, but they're also thinking about ideas on how to apply the skills that they've gained. And it's really good to get motivation from people that have walked the same path as you. So based on these insights, we developed a platform with free courses. And I've put here a quote from one of the contributors on the experience of sharing her own experience. She said that it's very fulfilling to have recognition of your work. I don't usually share my personal achievements, but see my community rally around me made me feel lots of hope and pride, which happens often, like we're too shy to recognize what we've learned, but it takes somebody else to shine a light on it to then feel it. So at a glance, and I will also take you through the website later. So you land on the landing page, and these are all courses that you can enroll for free. These are not accredited courses. These are like personal experiences. And we have Kyle, who discusses, and Kyle is also on the call, and he would like to share some of his insights. So his video is on the experience of having different skills and using the different skills for different projects. Sibongile, who was a teacher assistant, part of the Basic Education Employment Initiative, and now she's a HR graduate intern at a large automotive company. Tombi and her friends have started like a co-op nursery. And then we also have Muruina Neshitangi, who's an award-winning director. He produced a movie called Lubunyo, that was also recognized at the Cannes Film Festival. And he shares his insights on going from an idea to a movie. So we've clustered the videos under different themes, and these are some of the themes. And just to say that there's many more coming. So we have life advice, finance 101, business tips, and here we have like how to start a bakery, how to start a nursery, making your way. It's like a theme that I really like, because when you start your journey, you don't know where you're going to end up, because life is not linear. So it's really like on how to pivot and how to make that choice, the creative sector and entrepreneurship. And I saw earlier that somebody said in the chat that they want advice on how to start an NPO. And I can tell you that there's many videos coming from young people who've started an NPO. We are recording with Lita Samsam, who is the founder of Lakshan Mobile Library in Vrygrond, Cape Town. And he was part of Youth at Work and then created his own organization, and now is an implementing partner of the Social Employment Fund. So I want to share this little clip. It's very short, and I hope you can hear the sound, about who are the guides, who's taking you through these learnings.
Well, I'm I hope you guys are good. My name is Bulelani Balabala.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sibongile Princess Jolim.
Everyone, my name is Morena Emmanuel Nechetangani.
Hello, everybody. My name is Batia Ele.
Hi, I'm Siama Malachi.
Everyone, my name is Belina Sibongile Pungayo.
Hi, my name is Sense Chiana.
Everyone, my name is Mamaki.
It is Lungo Kukwada.
Sorry. I need to say, but I can't do it. I don't know.
Well, I'm
Okay, sorry. And I hope that like really makes you excited about the people that are co-creating this platform with us. So I've given you some insights. C takes you through lessons on saving so that your future self will thank you. He's part of Fed Up, which is Federation of Urban Poor. Lorena takes you through like how she started her own bakery, and then we've spoken about the teacher assistant and the co-op and the nursery. And then I've asked Kyle to hop on the call and perhaps share some of his insights in recording his video, but also learning through Next Step Exchange. So Kyle, I don't know if you can hop on and unmute.
Hi, everyone. Chloe, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Good morning, everyone. As Chloe said, I'm Kyle Hendricks, and I've had the opportunity to record for the Next Step Exchange. Just a bit of background, I'm an entrepreneur working at the intersection of media advocacy and community development. And like many young South Africans, entrepreneurship wasn't my first choice, but because of the limited formal jobs in our country, I was kind of pushed into a corner and had to start thinking of creating opportunities for myself. I've also completed a public employment programs in 2024 through Sunshine Cinema called the Spark Impact Program. But after leaving the program, I was really asked, or the question that kept on coming up is what's next? And that was a big challenge, not just for me, but many other people leaving public employment programs in South Africa. So today I run communications, media, and facilitation work across different organizations and community organizations. And while that is very rewarding, it hasn't been easy. One of the biggest challenges that I face is access to markets. So just for context, I live in Grabo, which is a small town about 60 kilometers out of Cape Town, where the demand for digital communications and media production and facilitation services are not as in demand as it would be in larger cities. So even if you have the skill, finding paying clients is another challenge entirely. And another reality of entrepreneurship often requires you to build credibility before people would invest in your services. And that takes time, it takes confidence and exposure. And this is something many young people don't automatically have after they leave public employment programs. And this has brought me to the one lesson that I've learned is that opportunities often come through people that before they come through platforms. And many of my clients have been through relationships that I've been able to build over the years. And that social capital has been just as valuable as my technical skills. So I think we need to do a lot more, or we need to be more intentional during public employment programs when we need to help young people to foster and build meaningful professional and social networks that they can leverage once they leave these programs. Networking isn't simply about collecting contacts, it's about creating relationships that can open doors, provide mentorship, create collaborations, and lead to future work. One network, just to bring in a practical example that has made a significant difference for me as an entrepreneur is Sunshine Cinema's Impact Facilitation Network. And what makes this valuable is not only the professional opportunities that I've gotten through this network / platform, but it's also connected me with entrepreneurs from across the country. And I think just that having that community where we can share our challenges and celebrate wins and exchange ideas and just support overall, really through because one thing that comes with entrepreneurship is that an emotional labor that that's not recognized, but we also don't speak about enough. And I think having that community reminds you that you're not building alone, which brings me back to the Next Step Exchange. And that is why I think a platform like the Next Step Exchange is so important, because they're not only connecting young people to opportunities, they're connecting young people to ideas, knowledge, and one another. For example, through this platform, I have completed a course by Tiamo, who's based in the Eastern Cape, on how to start a creative hub in the community. And this has really changed my approach to working with other creatives and other community workers in my community. And that kind of peer learning, I think, is incredibly powerful because it shows young people what is possible. I think if there's one message I want you to leave with today is that public employment programs shouldn't only prepare young people for jobs, they should prepare them for ecosystems, and ecosystems where they leave with skills yet, but also with networks, with mentors, communities, and access to these platforms that they can excess long after they've left public employment programs. And that kind of support doesn't just employ or improve employment outcomes, it builds resilience, confidence, and I think long-term economic participation. And that is essentially what we would want. Yeah, so thank you for letting me share my experience as an entrepreneur, but also as a participant of the Next Step Exchange program, Chloe. Right back at you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kyle. And just perhaps, thanks so much for your reflections. Just to say that this platform was developed for public employment participants, but it's available to everybody, and that's why we're presenting it today. And I'm really hoping that everybody here can take a look. So just in closing, yeah, I've put the QR code here, and I will also drop the link in the chat. But yeah, take a look at Next Step Exchange. There's always something to learn, whether you're looking for work, you're ready to start a hustle, you want to start an NPO. But please reach out if you have any ideas for videos that you'd like to learn from, and they're currently not on the landing page. I've put the email address here. And then just because we're talking about public employment programs, we've also started a WhatsApp channel called Pep Talk. And it's really a space with news, commentaries, and stories around public employment programs that run in urban and rural areas across the countries, and also South Africa's experience with public employment programs. So that's all from me. I think I'm over time too, but oh, the QR code is returning. I'm just going to drop the link in the chat. But maybe if I have an extra minute, if I do,
I'll allow you. I'll allow you.
Okay, fantastic. Let me see. I just want to show you, Shep. I just want to show you the website. So for all the amazing people in South Africa, there's an introduction from Mokhadi Matludi from the Presidential Employment Stimulus. And this is just an overview, and you just click on enroll for free. And then you either sign up, or I usually sign in with my email. Oh, sorry. You see now everything. Well, but you get an idea of, you get a student dashboard, and you can start a course, and then you can also rate it at the end of it. Yeah, so I will add the links in the chat. Thanks so much for having me.
Super. Thanks for that, Ms. Ajuluchi, and also big ups to Mr. Hendricks. I thought that example of how we have been connecting young people to skills, to opportunities, so that we have real life stories, and people who have attended this webinar do not feel that we are speaking about something that exists in the sky. It is definitely happening, and as you have said, the information is in the chat box. Please do take time to visit the sites. As I do that, I would want to invite Ms. Ndashe to speak to us about the National Empowerment Fund offerings.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon to everyone who is on the line. Once again, as a form of introduction, my name is Nophiwa Ndashe. I am the head of pre-investment for the National Empowerment Fund. Just at a high level, in terms of what my business unit is responsible for, it would be assessing all incoming applications. So all the applications that the National Empowerment Fund receives, and we assess that for merit and viability, and then propose for due diligence and formally hand over to the funds for due diligence. And then the investment process continues straight up to the investment committee. Today, I will be presenting our offering in terms of products and services, both financial and non-financial support. So debt funding, as well as what opportunities exist for the youth in South Africa in terms of non-financial support, which looks at incubation funds and the entrepreneurship development programs that we have within the NEF. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes. Maybe you want to take it on slideshow. Oh, there we go.
All right. Thank you. So yes, I'll take you through the funding products and services and just at a high level what NEF does. So NEF was established under the Act 105 in 1998, and we are a driver of Black economic empowerment and Black economic participation throughout South Africa, so both financial and non-financial. We typically look at our funding ranges from 250,000 all the way to 75 million. And we are an agency of DTI, the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition. And our funding, so our loan repayable terms is 4 to 8 years, but we can stretch it to 10 years, depending on the business need. We've got a range of products. I'll just run through the products, which would be entrepreneurship finance. So this typically looks at individuals that are just starting a new business. So it is aimed at startups. We also fund procurement finance, so that would be tenders and contracts for those companies that have a tender or contract or even a purchase order that they need to deliver on. We also do consider franchise finance applications, so that is looking at restaurants, filling stations, as well as supermarkets, whether it's your Pick and Pay, it's your Spar. But for that, then we do require approval, pre-approved franchise licenses. We also look at acquisition finance. So that speaks to if you'd like to acquire an existing business or an existing asset. That could be a guest house. It could be, it could be a guest house. It could be agricultural, where it is a farm, so that would fall under acquisition finance. We also look at expansion capital, so those that would relate to individuals that have businesses that are already trading and in the market, and they're looking to expand, either in terms of asset acquisition or the service offering that they provide. We also look at new ventures, which could be a greenfield project, so similar to a startup, but it could also be a company that is diversifying in terms of their offering. Capital markets as well, liquidity and warehousing. And we also have a dedicated fund for rural township and community development. So that speaks to agri-processing, tourism, mining, and beneficiation. So it services into mining as well as manufacturing. And then we've got our SPF, which is the Strategic Projects Fund, which looks at projects. So I'd like to just distinguish between a project and an application that is ready for funding. A project would typically take some time to get to bankability stage. So in terms of getting feedback from NEF, whether your application has been successful or not, for projects, specifically the Strategic Projects Fund, that's a bit longer of a duration compared to applications that say procurement finance, where you need to deliver on a contract or tender or purchase order. So our funding criteria, what do we look at based on applicants who would like to apply for funding? The minimum percentage Black ownership should be 50.1%. And you need to be operationally involved in the company as well. We also drive Black women empowerment, because our mandate looks at transformation and just driving youth development, youth financing, youth economic participation in South Africa, Black women-owned companies, as well as individuals living with disabilities. So the business also needs to be commercially viable. We do understand that with startups, it would be a company that has never traded. So what our requirement is from the business owners is that they demonstrate commercial viability, and that would be through offtake agreements or letters of intent, which would stipulate whatever product or service it is that they're offering. So those letters of intent would come from their prospective clients or customers, and it also needs to run in concurrent with the duration of the loan facility. So if your loan facility would be 6 years, that letter of intent needs to cover that 6 years. And it's always advisable to get more than one letter of intent, because then it reduces the concentration risk. We also look at, in terms of an application for funding, would the entrepreneur be creating new jobs? Where would the jobs be created? And job sustainability as well. So it's also the geographic location of the business. NEF does not offer funding outside of South Africa. So it is Black empowerment in South Africa. And the company needs to be compliant with all relevant laws and regulations, and also licensing or regulations that exist within the business sector that the company intends to operate in or is already operating in. We look at the return on investment and the possibility to co-fund with other public or private sector institutions. NEF is a state-owned company. It's a DFI, and our fellow DFIs as well that we would typically look at co-funding with would be the IDC, DBSA, PIC, and so forth, or privately it would be your commercial banks. So the non-financial support that the NEF does offer is product advisory, where we respond to client inquiries relating to products that we offer or services, and also business development support. So this is positioned to individuals that have a business idea that they've researched and are interested in formally applying for finance, but they're not quite there yet because they're not certain what the NEF requirements are, or what we require in our business plan. We also have the business incubation program, which is offered to nurture early stage ideas that are not quite ready for funding as yet. And these business incubation centers are spread throughout South Africa and throughout various sectors. We also have the entrepreneurial training program, which focuses on capacity building for entrepreneurs and, managing emerging businesses. So this is typically targeted at an entrepreneur that just recently had the application for funding approved, and it's trying to upskill those individuals in terms of how to best manage their loan facility, moving from whatever revenue that they would have been generating to actually having a loan facility with 10, 15 million approved, what the day-to-day would look like, what the requirements of the NEF from a reporting post-investment perspective would be, and then together with the post-investment function, which monitors performance of its growing number of investees for business risk and provides ongoing business support and assistance where need be, and free mentorship as well. So if you are interested in contacting the NEF just to find out more if your business idea would be considered for funding, if it falls within the mandate of the NEF. NEF has regional offices throughout South Africa. So each province in South Africa has a regional office, and you can also contact our call center as well as visit our webpage just to find out what else we offer. And we no longer process manual applications. So all incoming applications need to be submitted on our online portal. So I'll just speak to challenges that entrepreneurs face when they are applying for funding and why certain applications for funding ultimately are declined at pre-investment stage. So at pre-investment stage, we look at commercial viability. So we look at who are your customers, your end product, what is the need. You need to demonstrate the need for your product or service, and who would you be procuring that product or service to? So that's your market, right? It's your customer base, and for how long, and over and above those customers, what is their application of your product or service? So that speaks to commercial viability. It speaks to your revenue projections. It addresses that, as well as technical viability. So if it is manufacturing, where would you be acquiring your manufacturing plant? Where would you be acquiring your raw material input to actually produce whichever product that your business intends to produce? And in terms of management, what does the management structure within your business look like? Who would be running the day-to-day? Do they have the required experience? It's not always so if management, or rather the entrepreneur, does not have the necessary experience required to actually operate the business, then the additional support that NEF can offer is the mentorship, or the entrepreneur can look at employing someone with the relevant experience. And then it's also financial considerations. So all risks across the commercial viability, technical and financial, need to be addressed or mitigated. If we're not able to do that, unfortunately, we would need to decline the application, even though it would be a good application, because if we can't mitigate risks. So the sectors that NEF does fund, I'm just going to go through a few. It's tourism and entertainment, and we've got a tourism transformation fund where the Department of Tourism offers co-funds with the NEF, but their portion would strictly be a grants portion, and NEF offers the debt facility. We fund into transportation, so logistics, textile industry, financial services, food and beverage, excluding alcoholic related business ventures where you'd be manufacturing alcohol or distribution of alcohol. NEF does not fund into the sin industry, so all of those fall outside of our mandate, and that includes gambling as well. So construction and materials, chemicals and pharmaceuticals, agro processing, So it needs to, with agro processing, it needs to move past primary agriculture. So we look at the value chain in terms of your customers, your end product. If you are growing maize or apples, who would you on-sell that to? Do you take agreements in place? Would it be your SPAR, your Pick and Pay, your ShopRite? We also have a women empowerment fund that looks at empowering Black-owned women businesses. And I'll just at high level take you through the details of a business plan, because one of our requirements upon submitting an application to the NEF is that we do require a business plan. So it assists us at pre-investment to better understand your funding requirements and also the sector or industry that your business operates in. So we would need a brief description of your business. And in terms, if you are applying for 5 million, what is the breakdown? What will the money be used for? Is it CAPEX, capital expenditure? Are you looking to acquire assets, or is it working capital where you need to have where you need to pay salaries or you need to purchase stock, raw material? What is the purpose of funding? And if you are buying an existing business, acquisition, how was it valuated? So if you are buying an existing business, we do need an offer to purchase. We also need a valuation. We run our own valuation as well. But we also need an indication that informs the offer to purchase price. Products and services, what is your business going to sell? Industry analysis, this speaks to your commercial viability. Who are your competitors? The trends that you're seeing in the relevant sector, is it growing? How is it growing? What are the drivers for growth? What new opportunities exist? And if the industry is not growing, so then you would in essence be taking market share from a competitor. What is your route to market? How do you envision your business growing a market share? Again, who are your customers? That is very key. And how is the business going to do better than the competitors? And who are your suppliers? Do you have supplier agreements with them in terms of if there should be constraints in them supplying the raw materials to you? Do you have an alternative supplier? Quality control, safety processes, and then the experience that I spoke to under technical viability, qualifications, the numbers, the race of employees, internal and external risks, and socio-economic benefits, so jobs, skills, training. So the history, if it is an existing business that has been trading, and projections. So projections would be future-looking, forward-looking. In 5 years' time, where do you see your company in terms of profitability and operational capacity? What would the revenues look like? If you are applying for, say, a loan facility of 1 million, those projections need to speak to servicing that loan facility of 1 million. For example, your projections cannot be 600, your revenue projected cannot be 600 Rand a month. It's insufficient to service the loan facility. And then this is just an example of the documents and information checklist. We are now online, so you would log in and select the specific product that you are applying for, whether it's a startup, it's acquisition, it's expansion, and the system would then generate a list of documents that you would need to upload. Unfortunately, you won't be able to submit your application if you have not uploaded all the required documents. And these are the regional offices. We've got Gauteng, which would be head office. I'm based at head office. We've got the Eastern Cape Regional Office, Free State, Mpumalanga, Limpopo, KwaZulu-Natal, Northwest, Northern Cape, and the Western Cape. Any individual entrepreneur is more than welcome to contact the regional offices for advice and just guidance in terms of compiling their application for funding. And the regional offices will also provide guidance with regard to that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ndashe, for that blended presentation that speaks to funding and also unfunded support from the National Empowerment Fund. Likewise, if you are able to, Ms. Ndashe, maybe put some of your contact details of NEF in the chat box. But already I do see there are already some questions within the chat box. We are working in the background to also just summarize those questions on your behalf, so that later on we are able to also respond to the colleagues. But I'm also seeing quite a lot of people promoting their own businesses in many ways, and I do salute that. Let's see also how we can get various support from NEF and also the likes of SITFA, NYDA in their absentia. We will endeavor to also locate them. But thanks for that. I think we'll now take our last presentation from Mr. Nkobongwana. If you can come through, sir.
Thank you, Program Director. Please allow me to share my presentation.
You can go ahead, sir.
Please let me know if you see it.
Yes, maybe you want to take it on slideshow. Oh, okay, there we go. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Chair. My name is Solisanani Ngobongwana. I am from the Small Enterprise Development and Finance Agency, SETFA. I am here to share our newly launched program, a youth entrepreneurship program called Bio Pele. It was launched recently in Kwakwa on the 27th of June. I think most of you will be the first time seeing it. This is the first platform that is being presented on. Rationale behind having this program, it was to build sustainable youth-led enterprises in high growth and innovation-driven sectors. Our mandate is for the youth-owned businesses to transition into doing major businesses. Also, the advantage of this new program is that there is no collateral required. As most of you know, you'll apply at the bank and will ask for security, or you'll be asked what type of assets do you have. And this one for youth, you're not required, because we know most youth come from different backgrounds and difficult backgrounds, so their parents won't have such, and also them, it will be their first time also being involved in the economy. Also, this program has a window period, unlike the other previous funds that were open during the course of the year. This one we open from the 2030 to be closed on the 30th of September. I implore all the youth entrepreneurs to apply for the program as soon as they can. But before they apply, they must make sure that they familiarize themselves with their requirements and do as much research as they can before submitting their proposal. Also, with this program, we are partnering with different partners within this ecosystems, and we're also open to partner with others because we believe that if the more the opportunity available, the better for everyone involved. We are in partnership with NIDA. We have recently concluded a new partnership with them that trying to assist the youth as much as they can. TIA is called Technology Innovation Agency, deals with technology innovation, and also our department, which we fall under, called the Department of Small Business Development, DSBD. This is how the fund looks like. We have two pillars. One is for business expansion. It's called YBEP, Youth Business Expansion Program. And then we have the YSP, which is Youth Startup Program. The Youth Startup Program is up to 2 million rand with up to 72 months repayment terms. It has a business development support attached to it of up to 250,000 rands. This business development, first, in some instances, we have found out that some of the entrepreneurs will have a business, but then there are some shortcomings that they have. We try to assist them so that they can be able to run their successful businesses. Business development support consists of mentorship, product development or standardization of your product. As we know that in some industries, you are required to your product to go through certain tests for it to be consumed or for it to be used on a person's skin. So we assist with that. Some of them, we found that some of the entrepreneurs, they might have only one customer that is buying their product, or they are only supplying one customer. So we try to assist with access to market, but we do impart the knowledge to the entrepreneur so that they can have the skill going forward to apply the knowledge that they have gained from the training. The fund is qualifying criteria. You must be at least 18 years and not older than 35. The business must be held by a South African youth, 100% South African youth. Must have a valid tax clearance, CIPC. Please keep those CIPC records up to date. Do your annual returns so that your business can still be considered as registered. Since we're a government agency, we have to make sure that there's looked after. Clean credit record. However, if you are listed and you are still willing to work things out with the creditor, you are allowed to negotiate with the creditor and you make payment terms. You start paying the creditor at least for 3 months, and then you come up with that arrangement letter with the proof that you have started paying so that your credit record improves, because we know some of us, some of you guys were previously employed and then we had creditors and then you could not pay them because you have lost jobs. We are still suffering from the impact of COVID. So we do have that allowances for those that are willing to negotiate with their creditors. These are the sectors that are covered. I saw in the comments someone had asked about the creative sector. Yes, it is. It's one of the bigger sectors in our country, the big upcoming sectors in our country, digital economy and ICT, the green economy and renewables, agro-processing, also health and biotech, and also our circular economy. Also advanced manufacturing. This is how our fund is distributed. 50% will go towards women-owned and managed business. 40% is targeted to township-owned and rural-owned businesses. 4% is targeted towards people living with disabilities. And also 70% is going towards those sunrise sectors. And each province will have a limit of 25% into a share into the fund. This is how the program is structured. It must be an existing businesses operating for less than 24 months. You must be looking for capital expansion, market entry, equipment acquisition, or working capital. That is for those that are at the expansion stage. And then for those that are the startups, early stage youth ventures and innovators, we must be operating for less than 24 months. My mistake with the business expansion. for you to qualify for business expansion, you must be operating for at least 24 months and more. But for startups, it must at least be less than 24 months. Fully validated revenue concept for those that are at concept stage, because we know startups are at different stages. One that you have recently registered, you have identified a market that you want to enter. Then we employ you to do research, as my colleague from NEF had indicated. Understand the sector that you are in, do as much as research as you can before you start with the application process. And then those that have started the business, have started with the product, maybe you were selling camera in your area, and then it's been bought by, you have been making good sales and good strides, and you decide then now you want a manufacturing plant for it. We will then want to see those pre-revenue statistics for your business as proof that you indeed tested the market, and these are the results that you had gotten. And then we also offer seed capital and commercial, and then prototype, and also there is incubation. Since you know now, we are one entity between SIFA, the Small Enterprise Finance Agency, and SEDA, the Small Enterprise Development Finance Agency. So Small Enterprise Development Agency, and then we have incubators under the agency, where then if we feel that you need to be incubated first before you receive funding, we will take you through that process. These are how the funding profile works. It's up to funding cap is up to 5 million for business expansion, up to 2 million for startups. It is priced at prime -2, and then for business expansion, it's up to 84 months repayment terms, and then for startups, it's up to 72 months, and then for those up to 12 months moratorium. Moratorium means that we give you a payment break after the first payment or disbursement has been made. We will pay your suppliers, we'll pay your landlords, and then we'll pay money towards your bank account for you to pay your employees, since we can't pay them. And then after between 1 month to 12 months, we can give you a payment break, but that is dependent on your project. If your project shows that you can be able to pay us within the first month, we will be able to do so. But then if we see that you'll start making revenue after 12 months, we will also allow you that time, both capital and interest. In some instances, we will say pay the interest only because we see that you can afford them, or we can say, okay, it's fine, you can only pay, you are allowed not to pay any of this until 12 months has passed, and then after that, then we'll look at your project and see where you are, and then we start arranging new payment terms. For business development support, also for startups, as I indicated, it's up to 250, and then 150 of that, 50% of that is a loan, and 50% of that is a grant. The rationale behind us saying that it's a loan, we have seen people being given opportunities through a grant, and then they don't take them serious. So the loan element is for you to say, I am putting on something. The loan payment will be postponed. It won't be immediate, but for now you will receive the full support, and then with 50% being a grant, and then at a later stage, when then you have reached the commercial stage or you have started generating good revenues, then the loan portion will kick in. So that you show commitment, because we have seen that free money, people tend not to take it serious. So this is a way for us to say, if you don't have money to put into the project, we will put in on your behalf that you will pay at a later stage, so that we can see the full commitment from your side. Also, if then in the later stage we then fund you for operations, then that loan will be added on the amount that you'll be asking for at the later stage. This is the pathway to receiving the funding from us. Early stage, that is for the startup. The profile must be at early stage. At enterprise age must be at least less than 24 months, up to 2 million. maximum funding and up to 250 business development support. And then also for growth, it's more than 24 months and up to 5 million maximum funding limit and up to 200,000 funding for business development support, because business development doesn't stop. It can be a pre-investment when we have identified your shortcomings, and then later on we still continue offering you business development support through mentoring, because we have seen that there are issues that you need to work on up until you reach a certain stage where you can be able to run the business successfully on your own without any support from us. As I indicated, there's a minimum of, it's 18 to 35, a minimum of 70%, but that has changed. It's 51% now, 51% youth ownership and 51% youth management. Be active at SARS, have a clear credit record, registered at CIPC and also UIF for those that have employees under them, and then they meet the UIF threshold. It's not a must, but it's for those that have employees, and then the salaries or the wages that you pay meets the UIF threshold. When you are putting together your business case, this is what we would like to see into your business, or in some instances, this is what we will assist you with when you identify that these documents do lack in your site. That statutory compliance is very important. Any of us, whether it's NEF, it's an NYDA, to an extent that the banks would not look at your application if the statutory compliance is not met. CIPC registration is very important because that's your identity as a business. Valid SARS tax clearance to show that you are a taxpayer, even though you don't meet the threshold, but you do your returns as you are required by SARS. Your F and VAT registration, but that is dependent also on where your business is at that particular time. 6 months bank statement. This is for us to then assess your performance, your financial performance as a business. 6 months bank statement, if you have been operating for 6 months. If it's been 2 months, 3 months, we still accept them. But then if you have been operating for more than 6 months and then we kept them at 6 months, cash flow projections are very important. 12 months cash flow projections. Financial statements are audited and reviewed for those that are at business expansion. We will require that. But then also that is case by case. We look at the industry that you are in. We look at the ticket size that the amount of money that you have applied for, and also the revenues that you are generating. In some instances, we'll just require signed financial statements. But then if your business then generates a certain level of income, then we'll ask for audited and reviewed financial statements. Ownership proof is very important. Certified copies of all the directors. Beneficial ownership declaration is a document that you will sign. We'll send it to you for signature, proof of residence. Anywhere else that you offer credit, you must have proof of residence or FICA for your customers or clients. Strategic also, youth CVs. It's very important to know the person that we're offering money to. What experience do we have? Even if we don't have experience, your educational background, even if we will look at that, and so that we can assess what type of support you need individually as an entrepreneur. Also, for us to purchase equipment for you, we'll require supporting quotations. You will have to go to your supplier, get quotations. You have to get quotations for rental, and then you give us your SLR schedule for employees for us then to be able to say you have 10 employees, this is how much you pay, and then this is then how much you require for us to deposit to your bank account to pay your employees. This is after you have been approved funding. This is also a very important element on us. For us, we exist because we have to assist in creation of jobs. So that list of employees and the contract of employees are very important to us, so that we can show proof to our auditors, because we get audited by different auditors, our internal and external, and including the GCIS. As some of you know, GCIS is Auditor General of South Africa. We have to account to the South African government that the money that we have given to an entrepreneur, it has created these many jobs, and this is the proof that those jobs were created, and these are the contract, and is a proof that those salaries were paid to those entrepreneurs. If you have any existing loans and or litigations, you must also disclose them during the application stage so that we can be aware. It's not nice when we found out by ourselves through the background checks that you have such. If you have declared first, then we are able then to find ways to assist you going forward. Unlike someone doesn't declare and then we find out later on, and then it puts us, the entrepreneur, in a predicament. It's best that you declare first. Right, all our applications are online. It's www.setfa.org.za. This is how it's gonna go, or it's going currently. Registration, you go through the registration process on the portal. Then you select which pillar you belong to, or the system will select the pillar you belong to from the information that you feed. We'll profile your business and the sector that you belong to, and then we'll do verifications. We'll send your information to Home Affairs to check if you're not married, send it to SARS to check if you are up to date, and send it to CIPC for them to give us the information on your business. And then we also require you to put your shareholders into the application, how many of them or how much is the youth ownership on that. And then we also require a share certificate that indicates that the business is owned by a youth, because in some instances, people use the youth to access the money. Do not be part of that, because that is fraudulent. And when you find out, we do charge you. Do not allow yourself to be used. If then that comes, as much as it's tempting and then the rewards are good, so as the punishment. If you're found out, we report you to all the South African law enforcement agencies for you to be dealt with. And then we'll then determine at point 6 whether you need capital or business development support. And then also with the information that you have given us, we'll then track also if you are employed. And also, in some instances, we require you to resign if you are employed, because you cannot be, we believe that you cannot run a successful business when you are not part of it full time, unless you are at a certain stage of being a business owner. But at an early stage, it's very important that you are there, because your employees can run the business down if you are not part of it. Yeah, this is how we do the funding. It's quite similar to that, what I had presented previously. And then this is also on how it works. Now it's more outlined that we check, we do background checks with Department of Home Affairs just to show that you are indeed a youth, because people tend to take chances, and then you'll be able to select the system to select at what stages of business in, and also which sector that you belong to. Also, the information that I had indicated there, the historical operations of a business, the equity target profiles, which means that how much youth ownership is in the business. We'll then ask for the military compliance documents and financial statements, business plan via the portal, and then also we'll sign POPIA with you so that we do not give you information to any third party without your consent. But being a government agency, we are also required to report on who we have given money to. So yeah, that is also another issue. But then at the same time, you will be notified that Parliament wants us to account who we have given money to. So we'll give the list to Parliament for them to scrutinize. Opposition parties do send us requests for such through our ministry to show that indeed we are funding legit business people or legit youth entrepreneurs. This is the digital process that you have to go to, which is online. You do everything there online, and then you'll get, after you've done the application process, you'll get an application number. That application number is your identity, is your reference. That whenever you're communicating with us, you are looking for an update, you use that as a subject so that we can be able to quickly allocate quickly locate what the information that you are looking for. And also to emphasize, as I previously said at the beginning, this is a window-based fund. A window-based fund is that during when the application process is still open, we are not allowed to touch any application. Applications will only be processed after the 30th of September when it has been closed. This is the only time that we will process the applications. And also, you getting funding, it's subject to the availability of the budget when we get to our application, and also the application having commercial value in it. Those are the two major components of this fund. So for that, I implore you to go work on your business case, start the application process, make sure everything is there so that when our agents get to your application and they process your application, they must find it ready to be moved to the next stage. Instead of then, what is going to happen now, if your application does not have all the documents or all the information that is required, it will be moved aside, and then the next application then will be attended to. So I implore you to go read, familiarize, do with the processes, do what is required, and then apply. You stand a good chance of getting getting approved if your application is complete, if your application has a commercial value, and then is commercially viable. That is how, and also make sure that your statutory compliance is up to date. Those are the things that get you funding from government agencies. Thank you very much, Program Director.
Thank you so much, sir. That was quite insightful. Colleagues, again, to stress the fact that this is not an open-ended program, as Mr. Kobongwana had stressed. Let us apply on time so that eventually we are able to get to be part of the program. We are way over time. By this time, we should have been closing, but I'm going to request the indulgence of the panel for us to just push it until 13:30 so that we are able to take various questions that we have been tracking throughout the chat. So I will then request, if we start from the top, from Mr. Fenyane, if colleague, you can, from the questions that we have summarized and brought to your attention, and then followed by Mr. Naju, then leading up to Ms. Angelucci, then Ms. Ndashe, ending off again with Mr. Ngobongwana on the youth fund. In that order, colleagues, and the questions will be displayed here, and we'll just do a quick round so that we are able to respond to all those questions. Thanks. Yeah, you can display those questions again more. Yeah, let's go. All right, so to GCIS. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair. The first question: how do I register a cooperative using a new CIPC as e-services platform? Is as straight and forward. You visit the CIPC website. You can check one of our platforms which register cooperatives is new e-services. So you can log on new e-services. And then what we did is that we published a number of step-by-step guides on our CIPC website. On the bottom of our website, on our homepage, you can just check how to register there. We have your primary cooperatives. That's the first one that you will register. And then you need to reserve a name. Obviously, you have to pay 50 Rand for a name reservation. And then the registration is 125. Then you can just follow the step by step. And then you make payment by either your debit or your credit card. So the second question is what can be done when the CIP system is not functioning correctly? Yeah, if it's not functioning correctly, you can log a query on inquiries, and then you log on with your customer code and password, and then the department, obviously, you can choose ICT, and then they will be able to assist with that query. And then how to add and or amend directors on existing company profile. Just to remind you that all our systems are online. If you want to either add or resign as a director, please just follow the step-by-step guides, and then I'm advising you, you can do it on e-services, but this time it's not new e-services, you do it on e-services platform, and then you follow the step-by-step guides, and then how to resign or add a director, and it's free of charge to do that. And obviously here CIPC doesn't get involved. You'll receive OTP, and then from there you just action whatever that you wanted to do, both of you. So what is the process for deregistering a non-trading? For deregistration, obviously we also is also online, is automated. You can deregister voluntary, we call it voluntary deregistration. Please just follow the guide to do that. You can either do it on the e-services, follow the guide to do that. And for more information, also you can just check under maintenance on CIPC homepage. And then how can users get support when call center is not? Hence, we actually have the the inquiries on CIPC. So if you can't get hold of the call center, please make use of the inquiries on CIPC, and then our our officials or our colleagues in business will be able to respond to your queries. What free training and businesses development courses we have? Your e-learning courses. That is also available free of charge. We also offer, we have every week, Tuesday and Thursdays, webinars. If you want to us to, you can send us an email on our education at cipc.co.za. Then we'll add your email address on our bulk email, so you start receiving our invites to attend the webinars. I see now the question is gone. The next question is that does CIP provide guidance on starting an NPO? Which authority is responsible? CIPC is not responsible for registration of NPO. NPO are registered by the Department of Social Development. CIPC register non-profit companies. So you may visit or check them on the website. The information is there for non-profit organization. What should entrepreneur do after registering a company, become compliant? Obviously, one is you need to file annual returns. Annual returns are filed annually, and then you also have what you call a beneficial ownership, a BO. Once you register a company, a new company, you have 10 days, to actually file what you call this beneficial ownership, and then the rest of the information will come with the letters, the letter that we send to the customer, which is called after registration. And then from there, if there are any other things, you may attend our webinars, and then we'll keep on, equipping you with more information. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fenyana. Let's bring forward the questions to, I think it should be Harambe and SAU. If you can come through, Mr. Naju. You may need to zoom in a bit more so that we can also see. It's quite faint.
Is it fine now, Chair?
It is. I think we no longer have Mr. Naju on the call. Let's skip for now to Ms. Agilucci on the next exchange.
Next step exchange, yes.
Exchange, yes.
I'm just waiting to see the questions. Okay. Cool. So I've put the next step exchange link in the chat. So you can just head over to the website and sign, like you have to enroll. And as I said, the courses are free. There was an error, and I apologize for the QR code. I checked it just before the presentation and something went wrong. So I've updated the QR code on the slides, and I'm going to share it with the organizing team so that they can be shared with all the attendees. The courses, as I said, they're not accredited. They're given by public employment program participants and graduates. They do enhance employability. It's like by widening the tips. So these are tips and motivation from other people that have benefited from those experiences. So they can enhance employability in the workplace, but this is a peer-to-peer network. The courses are on entrepreneurship, as I said, starting a bakery, starting a nursery. We are recording some on starting an MPO, and they are already on starting small business and understanding the small business economy. As I said, they were thought of as for people that participated in public employment programs, but they're available to everybody. And they also are housed in a platform called Startup Tribe, which will give you access to many, many different types of videos. There is a 14-day startup challenge. How does the Presidential Employment Stimulus support participants after they leave the program? Well, the public employment programs are not designed to support participants after. And this is why I think what Kyle said was really important is like, how do we design an ecosystem of support of services that are available for people after they leave the public employment programs? And I really found the last presentation really encouraging as an extra set of extra support for somebody who starts an entrepreneurial venture. The Pep Talk WhatsApp channel is a channel on WhatsApp where we share information and news on public employment programs. We find that it's often difficult to stay up to date with what's happening with public employment programs and when applications start. So we've created a WhatsApp channel. So again, I've included the QR code in my presentation, and I also shared the link in the chat. So it's just for you to join and participate by reading posts, sharing posts. Something else that I also wanted to share is that Next Step Exchange has got a YouTube channel. You'll see the video that I embedded in my slide has a video that's available on the YouTube channel where we also put shorter videos, but I will include the links in my slides for everybody to see and also drop it in the chat again Thanks once again for having me. I appreciate being here.
Pleasure, man, and definitely thanks for making time to come and speak with us. Then we'll follow up with National Empowerment Fund. If we can upload the questions while I invite Ms. Ndashe.
Good afternoon, Chair. Can you please make the screen a bit bigger? Can you please zoom in? Thank you. Does the NEF fund startups and pre-seed businesses that have not started trading? If it is a startup registered with CIPC, we do pre-seed. Are we speaking about pre-feasibility? Unfortunately, we don't fund that, but we do fund startups. A startup would be, in essence, a company that has not started trading, but then you would need to demonstrate commercial viability that speaks to your customers in terms of the product or service. Who would you be selling that to, and what would the application of your product or service be? And the best way to demonstrate that would be through letters of intent or offtake agreements. The more the merrier. Try and get more than 2, more than 3 letters of intent, because it just reduces your concentration risk. So if you just submit 1 letter of intent, even though it might be a strong letter of intent, the NEF might still decline based on concentration risk. Because if you only have 1 customer and something happens in that customer's business, or they find a new supplier which is cheaper at what you are undercutting your price, then in essence you would lose your sole customer, and then you wouldn't be able to service the loan facilities. So NEF does not offer grants. It's strictly debt facilities. Is NEF funding provided as loans, grants, or a combination of both? It is purely debt, so it would be loans, but where we do manage funds from, whether it's DTI or the Department of Tourism that I did mention, the Tourism Transformation Fund, they co-fund with the NEF. So the Department of Tourism's portion towards the application would be grant. So an NEF would still be a loan facility. So combined, that is referred to as blended financing. But other than that, it's strictly loan facilities. And interest payable ranges from prime to prime plus 3. Okay, I think I just answered the 3rd question. So in terms of the facility duration, in terms of the loan facility, its interest would be prime to prime plus 3, anything from 6 to 10 years. And we do give a payment breather moratorium, typically 6 months, where the applicant, the entrepreneur, is not required to service the debt facility. And then after the period of 6 months, that's when payments start being due. What is the typical turnaround time from application to approval? We get that question quite a lot. And how long is a piece of string? So it varies. We don't have a standard response to that. With an application currently under assessment in the pre-investment unit, our acknowledgement communication, once you've submitted your application online, states 4 to 6 weeks. So that's 4 to 6 weeks for us at pre-investment to assess the viability of your application. So that means that within, let's stretch it to 6 weeks, because NEF receives an influx of applications, and we do assess each and every application, and we do respond. So once you've submitted your application, please give us 4 to 6 weeks, and we will respond in terms of your application has been assessed, and it does meet the minimum conditions for us to hand over for due diligence. So when we hand over for due diligence, we hand over to the relevant fund and the relevant region. So implementation, if you are based in Limpopo and that's where the application of funds would be, then we would schedule a Teams handover session with the Limpopo office and the relevant fund, whether it's Imbeu, Umnoto, the rural fund, or the project fund. Right, and we will formally hand over your application for the next stage, and that would be followed with an email from the analyst that was screening your application. If your application is not quite ready to progress to the next stage, which would be due diligence, then unfortunately we would need to decline. So typically we decline applications where there are gaps, significant gaps, and the risks have not been mitigated. So there are gaps in terms of commercial viability, technical viability, financial viability, licensing, depending on the industry. And then we would communicate the decline via email correspondence and also attach a very detailed decline letter that is intended to assist the entrepreneur in terms of addressing the gaps with supporting documentation. And once those gaps have been addressed, you are more than welcome to submit a new application on our portal. Typically, when we decline applications, we get a lot of feedback or calls from declined applicants asking for an appeal of the decline. It's not needed. Our doors open 24/7. You can log into the NEF online application portal at 2 a.m. in the morning. It's live. It's always there. So what I'm trying to say is, when you do get feedback from NEF and other funders, SETFA, I know it is disheartening and it might be disappointing, but take it as a step in the right direction, because that feedback, that decline comes with points that need to be addressed. So it comes with further guidance that this is the assessment outcome, these are the gaps that need to be addressed, and then you can reapply. So it would be a new application. Does NEF provide procurement or purchase order financing for businesses that have? Yes, we do. But in that, we will require a copy of the contract or purchase order. Over and above that, we will verify the validity of the purchase orders. So we will reach out as NEF directly to the company or state-owned entity or department, government department or private company that awarded the purchase order to validate the validity. And we can do that without your knowledge, because we need to satisfy ourselves with the terms in the purchase order as well as the contract. And for procurement financing, please always attach the quotes, the relevant quotes. We will also verify the validity of that. What minimum revenue, trading history, or financial requirements must applicants meet? So our threshold as NEF, we fund from 250,000 all the way to 75 million. In saying that, if you are applying for funding to the tune of 500,000, then the revenue, if you are an existing company that is already operational, in terms of projections, so forward-looking, your revenue needs to speak to volumes that would be able to service the loan facility. If you are a startup, your revenue still needs to speak to that. So if you're applying for $1 million at prime plus 3, I'm just using the absolute max, at prime plus 3 over 4 to 6 years, those monthly repayments, your revenue needs to speak to the monthly repayment, and there needs to be cash flow within the company as well. So we would look at your debt service cover ratio. I know I'm getting a bit technical on that, but to answer what minimum revenue. So the minimum revenue, the best way I can answer this question is look at the amount that you are applying for, and can your revenue afford to service that loan? Does any fund sectors such as consulting, hospitality, agriculture, recycling, mining, exploration? Mining exploration would be feasibility studies. So no, we don't fund that because it would be at risk. We do fund mining related services. Consulting, it depends. It's a case by case. What form of consulting are you in? What does your business, what do your customers look like? Hospitality, yes. Agriculture, yes. Recycling, yes. So I'd say yes to everything except for exploration. What documents and business plans are required when applying? Again, it depends on the product that you are applying for. Is it acquisition? Is it expansion? The document requirement differs. Also, it depends on what you are applying for. For example, if it is franchise financing, if it's a petrol station, is it a new build petrol station, or is it an acquisition of an existing petrol station? The documents there as well, document requirement would differ. But all of that information is on our website. What happens if a funded business is unable to repay the loan? So post-investment would try and work with the owners of the business to see how best. We've got a department called business turnaround. So once a business starts failing to service the loan, it's trying to find out, where did it go wrong? What happened? Did you lose your key customers? Did your suppliers increase their price tenfold? What is happening in the business? What is happening in the industry? So NEF would best try to assist the company in terms of turning it around, and for the company to be able to continue servicing the loans. We might consider a payment breather, repayment breather, while the company gets back on its feet. So it's also a case by case. We look at the reasons for failure. What support exists for unemployed youth with business ideas but no startup capital and trading history? The youth, if it is a registered company with CIPC, you can apply for funding given that your business is within the NEF mandate. We do fund startups. So yes, if it is a startup, there wouldn't be trading history. It's similar to the first question. So you'd need to demonstrate viability, commercial. It always starts with commercial. If you've got a business idea, always ask yourself, who is going to buy your product? and what are they buying your product for, and how long can they buy their product. So in business, it's almost you need to take care of your business, but you also need to ensure that your customer's business continues to operate because they are generating a revenue for your business. Can you please put the questions back up, or was that the last question? I'm not able to see the questions on my side. Okay, was that the last question for the NEF?
Yes, it was the last question. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that, colleagues. Let's then take SITFA with Mr. Kobongwana, and we are wrapping up, colleagues.
Thank you, Chair. In the interest of time, I feel like my colleague from EMF has answered most of the questions that are related to me or to the funding element. I'll just try to pick the ones that I feel like are more relevant to SITFA, and so that we are able to wrap up because I have another session to join. Was I audible, Chair?
Yes, you are. You are more than welcome to really tease those that have not been touched on, because SITFA in NEF, in a way, it's almost the same services but different profiles. Thanks.
Okay. Yes. The first question is: does the PO Fund Youth Entrepreneurship Program startups and pre-seed business with no trading history? Yes, we fund from zero trading for startups as long as they have the market and then can show us proof that they have done their market research or market feasibility study, or the product that they have developed has a market. What is the difference between funding component and business development support? Funding component is where then you receive funding or a loan to purchase your raw materials, stock, pay salaries, pay rent, and pay machinery that you need for your business. Business development support is more of mentorship support, product development, market to access, and also post investment mentorship, where then after you have given funding for your business, we assist you with things like managing your finances, because it's one of the biggest issues with SMEs, especially the youth. Is funding provided as a grant, a loan, or a combination of both? Our funding is more of a loan that comes with a grant in most cases, but the POPLO at its current standing, it's strictly a loan for business for funding. But for business development support, it's blended. It's a grant. It's a loan that has a grant component, but the loan component is postponed to a later stage once we have started generating revenue for a startup or for business expansion. Once the assistance that we have given to you is showing signs of improving your business, then you'll then start paying the loan. Also, those then that will receive business development support, then later on receive loan funding support, then that portion of the loan will be added back into your loan. What credit and compliance requirements must applicants meet? A standard credit, I'll say, and also one of them is that the credit record must be clean. If not, you must then have negotiated with your creditors a new payment terms, and then you must have the arrangement letter, and then you must pay your creditors for at least 3 months for your credit profile to be active again, and then you can start the application process. I always advise that you start with this before applying, because if you apply and then we find that your credit record is adverse, there's a high chance that your application might be rejected. But then if you have done that arrangement and an application, that arrangement forms part of it, then we will then process your application further. And also compliance are your regulatory compliance, which is SARS and the CIPC, and to an extent that even for UIF, you are required to submit compliance if you have more than one employee. And also for those that are operating in certain sectors, you are also required to comply with those sectors because it's what happens if a says what happens. Look, in terms of business bank statement, it is as per the number of months that your business has been operating and also registered at the bank. If your business was registered yesterday, you will just require a bank letter. But then if your bank account has been operating for more than 3 months, we will then require for those 3 months. If it's 6 months, we'll require for 6 months. If it's a year, then we keep it at 6 months. Can entrepreneurs move from YSP funding to YPP? Yes, progressively. That is what we want to see, that you had a startup at a particular time, and then we gave you funding support for you to develop. After developing further, and then you can be able to access the 5 million, but you must at least have been operating for more than 24 months, and also your performance of the business shows signs of that. Mr. Wahlodi, you have removed the questionnaire.
Yeah, I think they are back. Maybe try to wrap up, Mr. Kubongwana. I know we are rushing you now. Thanks.
Yeah, that's what happens when you come last. Our purchase orders, tenders, support to the program. Purchase orders, we tend to process them separately because of their nature. But then if that other fund for purchase orders does not have funding, then we do and you are youth, you qualify, we do look at them. But as same way as my NEF colleague has indicated, that we will require those documents and then background checks. Agriculture, tourism, mining, ICT, creative industry. Yes, for agriculture, we mostly focus on agro processing. Tourism, we do look at tourism also, but we have a tourism fund that recently concluded that was specific for tourism. Mining, those that supply services to mines and also supply product to mines, we do fund. ICT is one of our focus sectors. The creative industry and then the recycling businesses, it's one of our focused industries. So we do look at them. You're not required to resign for you to apply. The only time that we ask for resignation is after we have approved your application, because it will be too risky to ask you to do that at the early stage. But once you are approved, and then before we disperse the funds, or sometimes allow you a month after dispersing the fund, and then we ask you for a resignation so that you can fully focus on the business. What is the time frame for application? It's similar to an NEF, 4 to 6 weeks, and also you can take up to 3 months to complete the process. That is processing your application and also dispersing, which means paying the funds to your suppliers. It takes up to 3 months, but it's case by case, depending on the information that you provide during the processing stage, and also your willingness of your suppliers, your customers to talk to us. I'm not sure because with question 11, because the program does accommodate all of those geographics, women-owned businesses and persons living with disabilities. We do look at them. We do look at their proposals as long as they are commercially viable. And also for people living with disabilities, we also have an added support that will be communicated in due course. To bring them into being to the stage of their business being commercially viable. And business development support assist with visible studies. Yes, we do, but in some instances, when they are above that 250 threshold, we then you are required to do it yourself, but in most cases you are required that because it's your business at the end of the day. Can business developers use digital plans, mentorship, and market access? Yes, mentorship and market access it's ingrained in this program because we have realized that you will have only one customer, or you just don't capture the market that you are playing in, and then we impart the knowledge through training for you to be able to go out there and get more customers. Because in some instances, the order servicing contract, as my when your colleague had indicated, you lose that contract and your business shuts down and you're unable to pay us. The more contracts you have, the better for your business to survive, not only to pay us, but then to survive in the market. Not sure if that's the last question, Program Director.
Yeah, I think that should be the last one. But thanks a lot, Mr. Kongwana, for going through all those questions. Unfortunately, we could not take oral questions because of time that is not on our side. Already we have exceeded our webinar with an hour and 45 minutes. My correction. But what we are going to do, there are two housekeeping issues I need to deal with. One is that we are going to share a link of all these presentations here in the chat. Maybe more while I'm talking, maybe we can quickly do that so that when we close the meeting, at least people have sight of that link. But if you miss it here, we have shared the various socials that we have been streaming on. So on part of the commentary on all those socials, we will again also upload that link. It is a 3-day link. It's a limited link. So please, when you do get sight of it, do get in there and do retrieve those presentations that have been made. Other than that, what we are going to do with our panelists, will take all the questions, consolidated questions, and then make sure that we are able to share with them to just note all those questions that you have asked, and with responses in the form of frequently asked questions. We will also upload those material in those socials that will be adding. I see Mo has uploaded the link on your chat. If you can quickly just go to the chat, we'll try and keep the meeting a bit open for 10 minutes extra so that the public, you are also able to access those sites. Other than that, another housekeeping issue, there is a big call to say we must keep these webinars rolling. Certainly that is our intention. Do expect in no time, August, going forward, for us to again invite you. There's a variety and really a big a mainframe of all these opportunities that reside within government, but we'll also be inviting private sector to also come through with their own opportunities that they are offering, because it's not only government that's responsible for creating jobs and these opportunities. It also rides in the private sector, which government from time to time will work with. And with that said, I would really like to thank everyone for joining in. And I think when we started, it was about 1,000 of us. Now completing with about 440, but certainly it has been a very great and fruitful conversation, and really a special thanks to our panelists, and they have shared their contacts in the chat. Please do visit their Facebook, YouTube, X, websites, and also the QR codes that they've also shared with us. Do make use of them. These opportunities are for South Africans, are for you. The government is quite aware that the economy is not growing, job creation is not being generated at the level that we want. But what we are also saying that government will also always make the environment conducive for yourself to also do those startups if you are already in business, to see how you can scale, how can you can access markets. The DTIC, the small business, all those departments are here to make sure that all of us are able to exploit these opportunities. The webinar is now adjourned.